Good morning, everyone. Thanks for tuning into the TMI Show for Tuesday, July 15th. I'm Ted Rall. Over there on the right side of your screen is producer Robby West. He's filling in for Manila Chan, and she's out today. She'll be back tomorrow. No, she's totally fine. Just has some stuff to take care of. This is the Ted Manila Information Show. So TMI is also short for Too Much Information. So anyway, we're here Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. Eastern time. We're just so tantalizingly close to being monetized on YouTube. So please,
it is so close.
If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so. Please like, follow, and share the show as much as you can. Vote early and vote often. Really appreciate you. Thanks for being here. Today we're going to talk about the Trump, the sort of civil war within MAGA world. Trump campaigned on transparency. But we didn't get a lot of transparency at all once he was elected, and that's kind of a problem. So we're going to be discussing that. They were talking about the Epstein file fallout, which is continuing. Democrats are enjoying it. Also, the cover-up is now extending to a report on climate change, and no matter how you feel about climate change, you probably should care about it, since after all, you paid for this report. And if the government creates a report with your money, probably you should get to read it if you're so inclined. There's more news about the Camp Mystic floods in Texas, where basically the guy who was in charge of the camp kind of like derped and took an hour and 15 minutes before he responded to the alert that he received. Unfortunately, he's dead, so we're not going to be able to talk to him. So we're going to speculate on what happened there and sort of what you should do in the case of an emergency. I have some experience in that, having traveled in war zones. And a New Hampshire, I'm very interested to talk to you, Robby, about this. A guy in New Hampshire, green card holder, who came here when he was 3 years old from Canada. He went on a family vacay trip with his wife and three of his 5 kids from Maine. But even though he's done this a bunch of times before, this time Border and Customs Enforcement said, yeah, you can't go back to New Hampshire or across the Maine border because you had marijuana possession back in 2004. And you drove with a suspended license, so he may never be able to come back to the United States. So anyway, it's some stuff that we've talked about before, but some different angles, and I guess we should just go ahead and get right to it. So last night, House Republicans found themselves in a very uncomfortable position. The Democrats attached an amendment to an unrelated bill. This happens in Washington all the time. This was about crypto legislation that would have forced the DOJ to release those Jeffrey Epstein files. Now, of course, when Trump campaigned for the second term, he promised that he would get the Epstein files and he would release them. But actually what he did is he called in a bunch of influencers and handed them big binders that said things like the Epstein files, episode, volume 1. But when people got into them, there was really nothing new there at all. And then, of course, Attorney General Pam Bondi said, "Oh no, I've got the client list right here on my desk. I'm looking at it, and I'm going to be releasing that soon," is what she basically implied. And then she said, when she didn't, she basically said, "Well, no, I meant like the Epstein stuff. There was no client list ever. When I said client list, I didn't mean client list. I meant Epstein stuff writ large." So anyway, having some fun with this, Representative Ro Khanna, Democrat of California, who was the author of the amendment, basically told Axios, "Are you on the side of the rich and powerful, or are you on the side of the people?" He said, sorry. And whenever I see Ro, I always think that's a lady's name. Sorry. Anyway, so Republicans found themselves in a position to have to vote against this. And I thought maybe the most ridiculous line was Representative Virginia Fox, who probably is a girl, from North Carolina. She's the chairman of the Rules Committee, said, I think most of us believe, all these Republicans, except for one who voted with the Democrats, I think most of us believe what's appropriate will be released when it is time for the president to release it. And of course, President Trump, kind of expressed exasperation that a lot of MAGA world is still, sort of fixated on this issue and would like to find out who were the rich and powerful perverts who are walking around free and are presumably caught on film raping children in those files, but that we can't find out who they are. Nobody wants to see that video, but we definitely want to know who's on them.
For me, to be honest with you, and listen, I have no love for pedophiles. I think if you're diddling a kid, you should just be put down. But for me, the thing that's more interesting is I want to know who is funding him. We kind of talked about that yesterday on the Deprogram show. Where's the money coming from? Who set him up? Who funded Epstein? Because if you figure that out, then you know who's funding the deep state. And that's how you break the whole thing. And I think that's why Trump is so scared.
Well, I think obviously Trump, on my other show with John Kiriakou, Deprogram, last night, we talked about this. And, I asked him, do you think that Trump knew what was in those files or had a good idea or not? And he said no. And I agree with him. I think Trump got in there and found out some scary shit. Mm-hmm. And basically, whether it's the Mossad theory, right? Like, to recap that for people who might not be familiar with it, correct me if I'm wrong, but my understanding, Robby, is that the Mossad theory is he was a Mossad agent and he was running an operation to basically collect compromising material. It was a honey trap operation. Yeah. Lure rich and powerful men with hot, young, underage, illegal girls, have them have sex with them or otherwise implicate them, get them photographed, videoed, and so on. And then if you ever need a favor from one of those guys and the guy is sassy and reluctant or recalcitrant in any way, shape, or form, you can just pick up the phone and say, you remember that tape I have of you? Oh, you don't know about that tape. I do have a tape about you. So maybe you want to reconsider that no that I got from you the other day. And also, you're always going to be picking up my calls. That's basically right. That's the theory. Yeah. And it explains why a man who basically was like a teacher, right, yeah, on paper, why he owns his own island, and why he owns one of the most expensive townhouses on the Upper East Side of Manhattan in the richest zip code in the United States, 10021.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And then you have to wonder, why does this math teacher have prime ministers and people like that who are crashing at his over on his couch? What is going on there? And then what the hell's the name of that really prominent lawyer who God, I can't think of the dude's name. He looks like a prune. He's like 120 years old. And he was Jeffrey
Alan
Epstein.
Dershowitz.
That's the guy. Yeah, that's the dude. Oh, I went there. I got the massage, but always covered up by a towel. I was always covered up by a towel. No, Ben Shapiro came out yesterday on the Daily Wire. He said, no, listen, the Israeli prime minister, a former Israeli prime minister came out and said that Epstein never, ever worked for the Israeli government. So case closed, folks. We got straight from Israel. Case closed. And
right.
You're
You can always believe that.
Oh, 100%.
Well, and of course, obviously, the denial there, right? So, I don't think Israel has really the same culture of denial here. So in official Washington, for whatever reason, it's considered, if something is true and you want to deny it, you don't want to just totally categorically deny it, because if it ever comes out, you look really, really bad. Israel doesn't have that culture. It doesn't really matter. But let's just say they did have that culture. You can use weasel words here, right? It's like, so if someone's not officially on the Mossad payroll, they don't work for Israel. Right. And like if Israel happens to be gifting them lots of money, that's just a gift. If I send Robby, if I send you a Christmas gift, that doesn't mean you work for me. It just means that I like you and I'm sending you a gift.
Yeah, there's never any strings attached. I mean, that would never happen. I mean, I think that Thomas Jefferson really did it right when he was caught with what was her name? Sally
Heming.
Yeah, Sally Heming. Just ignore the story. Just don't comment on it. That would be the smart play. Yeah. But he didn't though.
Well, yeah.
Tommy, he just kept quiet.
I'm not really sure caught is really the word here, though, right? I mean, he was dancing with her in the French court. Now, granted, there was no Instagram at the time, and but still, he danced with her openly, in the French court when he was ambassador to France, yep. And also she was the lady of the house when people would visit him at home, and it's like this. Basically, she was his wife. Right. I mean,
yeah, pretty much.
His wife had died many years before. People always forget this about TJ, right? Like he wasn't cheating on anyone. I mean, if there's an ethical consideration, it's simply about like having sex with your slave. But at the time that was considered okay. And there's considerable, conflicting information about whether it was consensual or not. I mean, obviously,
we'll never know.
You can't really judge these things by the I mean, what happens in 1802 is not really, you can't really translate that to 2025, as much as people would like to try.
Oh, no, I disagree. Because if you have a lady of the house, why can't you have a prime minister of the house? Why can't you just have a prime minister just comes there, is always on the pad, just opens the door and is there at all the parties and things? I'm sure that was a consensual relationship.
Well, I mean, I think
for somebody,
she was very, very young, right? When he started in with her, I think she was 16, maybe.
I have no idea.
But again, that wasn't really that unusual at the time either. I mean, people got married at like 13, 14. I mean, it's just, yeah. So I don't know. I mean, total bias. I mean, Thomas Jefferson's my favorite president. I think he's super interesting. I think I would have liked him.
Oh, he's definitely the smartest one. Definitely the smartest president that we've ever had. For sure.
So, all right. So, I guess let's get to it here. I mean, what do you think is the deal here in terms of, MAGA, in terms of MAGA world? I guess the question is, and this is I don't mean to attack the right here. The left is, as we've seen over the last 4 years with Joe Biden and his diminished mental acuity and physical frailties being covered up. Obviously, Team Blue just defends Team Blue no matter what and continues to stay loyal to it no matter what. But so here, I mean, and obviously Team Blue always accuses Team Red of doing exactly the same thing. But, sometimes you get to a point where you're just like, I'm done with you. You've lied to me one too many times, or you've betrayed me one too many times. How important, Robby, of an issue is this to the populist right, the Epstein Files? How important is it compared to other matters like fighting high prices or immigration? Is this something that really will peel some hardliners away?
Oh yeah, I mean, as a creature of the right, and as a part of the whole MAGA movement, I can 100% guarantee you, as important as immigration and all these other things are, those are issues. This Epstein thing is the issue. And I think that this might be, because it's a couple of different things. One, if you are campaigning and if you're running on the entire idea of America first,
mm-hmm.
But then you have your president who was rallying behind you, who is the standard bearer for what is it you're pushing for. When he is coming out in his whole administration and they are telling an obvious lie to you, then you have to just think this thing through. Does Trump really think that we are so stupid that we don't believe that a sex trafficker had clients? That's a misnomer. Of course he did. So Trump is lying not to his base. he is telling
clients
this
or perhaps victims, depending on how you look at them,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
I mean, the men being victims too, because he
Yeah,
was
potentially.
blackmailing them.
But the lie is actually more insidious than that, though, because the lie is based on the premise of him saying, "I will protect you, the whoever it is that's behind Epstein, from the clients to his financiers. I will protect you no matter what." And so that's the divide right there. We're smart enough to know that Trump is lying to us. The question is why is Trump lying to us? And the only
And who is
answer
he
that is there,
protecting?
he is protecting the powerful people in government and finance who are wrapped up in this whole Epstein thing. That's it.
Or he's protecting the state of Israel, or both.
Well, of course it'd be both, because I personally believe that Epstein was a honey trap. I mean, there's no hard evidence. I don't have the list. If I had the files, I would release them right now, right here on this show. Consequences be damned. I obviously don't have them, but there's enough circumstantial evidence out there to see who it is that was funding and bankrolling this guy, and it's obviously a blackmail operation. Now,
well, Robby, we're going to the core here of something bigger, right? Than even, and this is a big thing, but still, the big question is, okay, so what is the MAGA movement? In other words, like from the left, Democrats think that MAGA members are a bunch of Trump toadies, that basically whatever Trump tells them to do or believe, they do, and they recite, blindly and reflexively, the dictator has spoken. I'm doing what the dictator says.
they think we're all Laura Loomer.
Right. So the question is, so is that, I guess right now Trump is testing that proposition, right? He's basically trying to make that true. He's trying to say, like, listen, I know best. Stop thinking about this quote unquote creep. Move on. I have other things to do. I can't be bothered with this. I can't be arsed. You're just going to have to trust me. I'm Big Daddy. I'm in charge. Is that going to fly?
No. And I think right now you see the actual split now. We actually have two different brands. So one, you have the MAGA crowd. Those are the Trump toadies. Those are the Charlie Kirks. Those are the Laura Loomers. That is your MAGA, your red hat wearing MAGA dude. Okay, that is MAGA. The other side, which is what I belong to, is America First. America First, if you want to try and put this into some kind of historical context, when George Washington, when he did his farewell address, he said no foreign entanglements, that's us. You put America first, not at the you don't support the rest of the world at the expense of your nation or your people. You fix your house first. And then, if you have something left over, you go and help other people. But if your house is falling down, and if your kids are malnourished, you take care of your people first. We kind of talked about this a little bit before the show started.
Mm-hmm.
That is the America First crowd, and that's the split. People like me, Trump has lost. Trump lost me, frankly, back in his first term when he came out and supported red flag laws and said that the Fourth Amendment doesn't matter. We don't need due process. That's when he lost me. Now it's actually going further and deeper than that, because now the perception on the America First crowd is that Trump is bought and paid for, and that the swamp is the swamp is coalescing around Epstein. So what the thought is from the faction that I belong to, if we can get to the truth of Epstein, we can kill the deep state, because both of those things are physically linked. That's why they're fighting so hard to protect it. And a lot of people, myself included, and you can call me anti-Semite or whatever the hell it is that you want, I don't care, firmly believes that Israel is the one that's pulling the strings here, using finance, AIPAC, the political capital from AIPAC with the primaries stuff that they're doing. No, Ted, I could burn an American flag right now and nothing would happen to me. But if I burn an Israeli flag, God help me. Because depending on where I am, if I do it in Texas, I get put in jail for burning the flag of a foreign country.
Wait, is that true?
It's wide open, because Governor Abbott said that Texas will prosecute anti-Semitism. And so if anti-Zionism and anti-Semitism are conflated the way they're trying to conflate them, who the hell knows at this point? I mean, if you can get a legal resident alien, arrest him with no charges, no due process, ship him down to a concentration camp down in Louisiana. It's not that far to get some dude with a southern drawl like me with a short haircut, burning an Israeli flag. And next thing you know, say, hey, this Robby guy, he's a racist, xenophobic, homophobic, anti-American, whatever, a enemy of the state, and just drop me into a hole somewhere. That's the problem. And that's what we're trying to break.
Last question
on that cabal.
Last question on this, Robby, before we move on. And we're going to be talking about another case of a green card holder, that guy from New Hampshire, who has effectively been deported during his vacation. He didn't even get deported. He didn't get the free trip out of the country. He was just told he left off his own accord, didn't even collect his $1,000. And it's like, bye, for over some pretty minor shit. But let's get into, so I guess my last question is, Americans get easily distracted.
Yeah.
So, I'm sure Trump is just thinking the news cycle will bring something delicious for him to to say, hey, look, Bart's doing stuff. Simpsons reference. Or Trump himself, of course, is the ultimate distraction machine. Will America firsters like you keep your eyes on the ball, or will that sort of be like one of those like, well, we forgot about that?
No, this is not going away. And Trump's actually doubling down on pissing us off, because now that he has decided he's going to start escalating the war with Russia, and that he wants to that he's just going to just go in and fund Ukraine again, while after he just got finished passing the big, beautiful, disgusting bill, my words, not his, that's adding trillions of new dollars to the debt. We are now going to arm Ukraine. Why? I mean, all the things that Trump ran on it's the exact opposite of what it is that he's doing. And so I have a question for you, Ted. So the politics, the left-right paradigm doesn't really work anymore. It's obvious that's dead. And so if you go on Twitter right now, you see Chank of all people actually coming out in support, not of MAGA, but of the America First people. And the question he's asking is, where's the populist left? Because this is a chance for the populist left and right to unite and actually go after the people who are screwing both sides. Are your people going to show up?
I agree. And so I think that there's a cultural hesitancy, not by me, but by a lot of people on my side who are kind of like, I don't know about those guys that were mean to us for a long time. And they said a lot of bad shit about us. And it's kind of like, I think what maybe a lot of people on my side need some education about is that side that was saying all that mean shit to us, we're not the same side that we're reluctant to get together with now. Those were neocon assholes after 9/11 under Bush who called us anti-American communist assholes. The people like you are people who didn't vote before because neither party appealed, which frankly was like a lot of people on my side who also didn't vote because, and still don't, and didn't vote in the last election because neither party appealed. And, I wrote, I can send you stuff. 20 years ago, I said we need a border wall. 20 years ago, I came out against, illegal immigration as a source of as a means of dragging down wages. And I wasn't alone. A lot of people on the left were economic nationalists, always have been. And then some of us have been distracted and seduced by liberal Democrats and their sort of their distraction agenda of putting stupid social issues and social justice crap, which can be important, but it's secondary or tertiary compared to class analysis, which is basically. And what is a class analysis? A class analysis is understanding what group of people you belong to socioeconomically and what the interests of that group are, and that you are better off aligning yourself with that group. in this particular situation, yeah, we have, for lack of a better word, we have globalists running wild, and it's like, and they're attacking us from the left and from the right. So, I mean, I think it could be even more than an alliance of convenience, but at least it should start as an alliance of convenience. And if Chank Uyghur, who, used to be a pretty smart guy, I assume he still is, is seeing it that way. Like, I know others see it that way too. People like David Sirota, me, we're out there. I mean, I think the conclusion is so obvious that, we're going to have to get past the cultural crap and just like make common cause, because we're far more on the same side than on different sides. I mean, we live in a world now where, I mean, I remember, look, for me, the realization was I used to read Pat Buchanan's magazine, American Conservative. And I'd read that and I'd be like, 90% of this, I totally agree with.
Yeah, I agree with most of the stuff in your book.
Well, so there you go, right? And so, like, are we going to really I don't agree with Democratic Party on 90% of stuff at all. I mean, I'm not sure. Hey, Clovis. Clovis is up on my desk here, but I don't know if you can see him.
Let's see him.
All right, come here, big boy.
The star of the show right there.
That's right.
Look at that.
Oh, there goes my mic. And he's going to be startled, but that's his own fault for pulling on the string.
Sabotage.
So yeah, he's in a very friendly mood these days, but he looks mean, but he's a nice cat.
Is he going to come to Montana with you next month?
Oh no, he's not a travel. He likes cars, but he's not an airplane cat. Not to mention the airlines charge you like $250, and there's going to be some fucking, Karen on the plane who's going to be like, I'm allergic to cats. And I'll be like, it's a hot Russian blue. It's hypoallergenic. I'm still allergic to your cat. So yeah, anyway, no, I'm not bringing my cat. He's going to stay here.
So I think that's another place where the left and the right can unite. You have someone like that, just throw them out of, especially if it's a Boeing plane, it's easy because the doors come off in mid-air.
It's like, this is your captain speaking. We are going to engage in a defenestration procedure. Just everybody buckle up real tight. We're going to depressurize the aircraft just for a couple of seconds, and then we'll be back to our regular scheduled movie.
But no, just real quick, and this is wild because I know we have to go on. But I was looking at Chank, and I don't agree with Chank on nothing. I can't figure out if the dude's a grifter or not. So I'm trying to see if he's actually sincere for the first time ever, or if he's just trying to grift. But the reason I bring that up is that someone replied to him when he was talking about the America First people, and just this guy was just like, "You're making common cause with white supremacist Nazis," and he's just like, "No, I'm not." So these people are actually fighting the fight that fucks like you refuse to fight. And so I'm hoping that the dude actually sees the light, because that would be awesome if he did.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely, we all have, capitalism turns us all into grifters, right? We all have to kind of like, do what's necessary to make money. And Chank is no, my mom used to famously, but in my family famously say, like, as long as you have to work for a living, you are not free. And so in that sense, I'm sure that a lot of what he's done over the last 20 years has been related to that. But, we shall see. It doesn't matter. I guess the whole point is, even if you're a grifter or even if you're a bad person, if you change your mind and you come over, it's sort of like, there are people I know who are like, fuck Tucker Carlson. He was for the Iraq War. I'm like, what more do you want? The guy like went from being a neocon interventionist to being an anti-interventionist and a skeptic. That's you winning. Don't be sore about winning. When you convince people to come over to your side and that you were right, don't give them a hard time, but you were wrong before. You say, welcome aboard. Let's have a beer and let's do some business. I
have been wrong so much. When I was younger, I was a Sean Hannity Republican until I wasn't.
Right. And that's like, so I'm like, yay. I mean, that's exactly the transition that people like me want to see happen. So I'm not going to complain about winning. So, all right, let's get into another sort of bit of this doesn't need to be a particularly long chat, but it's worth having. So, Trump also has just made it harder to find legally mandated scientific assessments about climate change. So, earlier this month, the official government websites that hosted the national climate assessments went totally dark. And at the same time, so one of these is NASA, and NASA said that it would continue to keep their own reports in order to comply with a law passed back in 1990 that requires the agency to put those reports about climate change up. I don't have to really explain why NASA would know a lot about climate change. It seems pretty obvious. But under Trump's orders, NASA just reversed that yesterday. The USGCRP, which is the agency that used to host this report, basically just announced that they are not going to do it anymore. On July 3rd, they put out a statement. They had just said that they would do it. This document was written for the American people, paid for by the taxpayers, and it contains vital information we need to keep ourselves safe in a changing climate as the disasters that continue to mount demonstrate so tragically and clearly, said Texas Tech climate scientist Catherine Hayhoe, chief scientist at the Nature Conservancy, co-author of several past national climate assessments. There's still copies of it at the NOAA, NOAA, that's the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration's, not to be confused with NASA library, online. Former Obama science advisor and climate scientist John Holdren said that this new stance is classic Trump administration misdirection. In this instance, the administration offers a modest consolation to quell initial outrage over the closure of globalchange.gov and the disappearance of the national climate assessments. Then 2 weeks later, they snatch away the consolation with no apology. Sounds a little bit like what happened with Epstein. They simply don't want the public to see the meticulously assembled and scientifically validated information about what climate change is already doing to our farms, forests, and fisheries, as well as to storms, floods, wildfires, and coast property, and about how all these damages will grow in the absence of concerted remedial action. Robby, I know that we don't agree about everything about climate change, but this topic isn't really about climate change. This is about taxpayer-funded reports that have already been produced, and we could argue about whether such reports should have been produced, but they were. They belong to the American people, and the American people ought to be able to see them. And if they're bullshit, they're bullshit, and if they're not bullshit, they're not bullshit. But people should be able to see them.
I agree, and I mean, here's the way I see this. Correct me if I'm wrong, but supposedly we live in a republic, right?
That's what they say.
And so, if we live in a republic, that means we elect our leaders, and we should elect our leaders based off of being an educated populace. Then doesn't it make sense that we read these reports? That way, we can make up our own minds and then vote accordingly, right or wrong. But it's a choice that we make, and we're not going in blind. We make that decision based off the information that's available, and then we vote accordingly.
And the thing is, nobody disagrees that climate change is happening, right? No. So we can disagree. Some people
on the how.
Disagree about like how and why and all that. But like certainly we know it's happening, and it is affecting us. Oceans are rising, temperatures are becoming more extreme. We have a lot more hot days. We have fewer cold days, et cetera, et cetera. And like a lot of that is how do we respond to that? Here in New York City, we're probably going to have to consider building a seawall like they have in Holland eventually to protect New York Harbor. There's lots of stuff like that we should be thinking about and talking about. Now, by the way, I am going to have to throw this out here, Robby. Does the fact that the Trump administration, which has a lot of corporate allies and donors, the fact that they're covering this up, does it make you suspect that maybe the human-caused climate change narrative is correct, and that's why they're covering it up?
I think what this is, I think it's probably a combination of two things. One, I think it's just pure arrogance, is that our elected leaders think that they know better than we are. So we should sit down like the petulant child that we are, sit down, shut up, let the experts deal with it. I think that's a big part of it, which is fundamentally wrong whenever you have a Republican form of government. Because if you're elected, if the people give you that power based on their consent, then we should at least have the information, be able to make that choice ourselves. So this is anti-democratic at its core. As to whether or not this is human or natural, I don't really know. I do know that it is happening, and I do know that we should prepare and plan things like that happen. And I think that it's just disgusting. You can't have a representative form of government that is shrouded by a cloak of secrecy that the electorate has no way of piercing. That's the problem. No matter what the issue is, whether it's Epstein, whether it's climate change, whether it's war, none of this matters. Like, why is it Congress? I'm kind of going off on a little bit of a rabbit trail here, but I'm going to tie it all together. We are engaged in a shooting war with Russia and everything but name, and Congress has not given its consent at all. The people have not given their consent for this. If the people, that's one big issue. The people have not given their consent about America's support of a genocide happening right now, paid for by our tax dollars in Gaza. That's a major issue.
It is.
I mean, we do not live in a republic. We live in an oligarchy, and it doesn't matter what the issue is. I don't care if it's climate change. I don't care if it's immigration. I don't care whatever your hot topic is. I don't care. I want you to come to my side so that way we can all fight together to break this thing.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, look, here's the thing I believe in radical transparency. If this is we the people, and we do pay for this, right?
Yeah.
I mean, look, unless something is like at the highest levels of national security, okay? And I mean for real, not the way that they say, right? I mean, I don't think that there's a single meeting that ought to happen behind closed doors that's not live streamed. That you should be able to pipe into some random meeting at the agriculture department that's happening right now. If you're a farmer and you're interested, you should be able to and of course watch it later, store it up. I don't think that a congressman should ever be allowed to meet with a lobbyist in private. That should
buy
be
stocks.
Oh no, definitely. They have no right to buy any securities whatsoever. They should for sure have all of this stuff be public. You're going to meet with a lobbyist. Okay, well, fine. That's going to be on video, right? No question about it. Every minute of it. If you meet with them 1 minute out, automatic impeachment. You're gone. You can prove it happened. I don't care what you were talking about. Like, oh, where's the bathroom? Doesn't matter. You're gone. Radical transparency is easy to accomplish nowadays. There's no reason not to do it. And I bet 90% of the American people, if not more, would agree, right?
I mean, as far as climate change go, I mean, where we disagree on is that you believe it's more human caused. I believe it's more natural, just more cylindrical, just more. I mean, does it happen? Sure. Do people have an effect on the environment? Sure, we do. I mean, that's an undeniable fact.
By the way, it could also be both, right? It could be multiple contributing factors.
Not very easily. But to go back to your point here is, if the report's there, and if the government is funded by the American people, the report is funded by the taxpayer, and this is all
it belongs to us.
It belongs to us. You should give it to me. Yeah, I should be able to read it. I want to know what the strategic analysis is for the proxy war against Ukraine. I mean, we are flirting with nuclear war.
Well,
and most people are completely asleep at the switch about it.
And think about it. Congress hasn't declared war since World War II, right? And so we've had real major friggin' wars, like Korea, Vietnam, Gulf War, et cetera, all non-declared, right? And I guess the argument here is this is not a, the proxy war in Ukraine is we don't really have a serious number of U.S. troops on the ground there. Okay, fine. That's true. But, I still think Congress should have to sign off. I mean, the Constitution's very clear on this point. I always think about Thomas Jefferson, who knew a few things about the Constitution.
Yeah, since he wrote it.
That's it.
Well, he helped. Well, he helped write it.
He helped write it. And when he was president, he had to deal with the Barbary pirates in North Africa, and he considered deploying troops without congressional approval, but he decided to go to Congress and ask for congressional approval because he wanted to establish the precedent. Like, the president can't do this alone. The president needs Congress. Unfortunately, it was all downhill from there, and Congress has abdicated its war powers responsibilities in favor of an imperial presidency increasingly ever since, and now things are getting even more crazy. All right, let's move into the Texas floods. So Dick Eastland, who was the guy, he was the husband of the couple who ran the Camp Mystic all-girls Christian values sleepaway camp on the Guadalupe River ever since the 1980s. So he was an older fellow. He basically died on the morning of July 4th after a wall of water swept through the camp, killing 27 children and counselors. It turns out now, according to the family issuing a statement, that, and I guess they got a hold of his phone, that the National Weather Service alert was received by his phone at 1:14 a.m. local time, warning of life-threatening flash flooding. But he only made the decision to start evacuations at 2:30 in the morning. An hour and 15 minutes later, obviously, it was too late. So there were about 700 girls sleeping in dorms at the time. The campers were not allowed to bring their phones. And I kind of understand that, right? Like, don't be on your phone, like focus on camp, right? Like, do camp stuff. And, but the counselors also had to surrender their own phones, meaning that no one besides him were able to see the emergency alerts themselves. That, according to two teenage Mexican counselors, that's really wrong. I mean, I think the counselors ought to have had phones, obviously, with the benefit of hindsight. So anyway, Eastland basically conferred with family members, some of whom worked there at the 725-acre camp. The alert did not order or recommend evacuation. That's something that the government officials decide. Anyway, Eastland was 70 years old. His truck was swept away as he tried to drive a group of small girls to safety. This is pretty heartbreaking, actually. Yeah. He was caught. He was caught in 4 feet of water. Ultimately, the Guadalupe River crested at almost 38 feet, according to the U.S. Geological Survey. So it's hard to imagine just how big and fast and terrifying that must have been. The counselors in charge had to basically make instant decisions on their own. They had no input from adult supervisors whatsoever. And anyway, there was no notification, really. The family said they didn't hear anything about anything until 11:30 in the morning, many hours later. By then, of course, it was all over. The thing is, part of the problem that so many bodies and vehicles are still missing, and the investigation is impeded, is sort of really sort of laid bare by this one description. One trailer was completely covered in gravel, 27 feet below the surface of the river, according to local investigators. Sonar crews are searching river and local reservoir lakes, and they're going to have to drain 2 of those reservoirs entirely to look for the bodies and the vehicles. That's pretty brutal. Look, it's not really a political story, right? It's more about, like, what do you do in a fast-moving situation? 70-year-old guy wakes up at 1 o'clock in the morning in the country, and he's got to decide. I mean, we've all gotten like alerts that say, like, this dangerous thing is about to happen. Take cover, electrical storms are coming, blizzard warning. And you just have to assess. I think about the people who live, I mean, you're from Florida, people who live in hurricane areas. They get zillions of hurricane alerts that don't materialize, right? If you got up and packed up and left Florida, every time you're told to do that, you'd be doing nothing else. And
Well,
like
the big
a
difference.
lot of people ride them out for that reason.
Well, the big reason is also with hurricanes, you know that they're coming. Like they're slow moving. They're not. No,
Mhm.
they're typically not fast. And if you're,
Yeah.
just no, I've never evacuated because I don't know if you've ever seen. Well, I'm sure you have seen the footage of the people, especially the New Yorkers in Florida, trying to go north, and the
Uh-huh.
roads are clogged up.
Yeah, there's no point.
Yeah, well,
Unless
if
you
you
leave
get
early,
yeah,
right?
if you
Like
get
if you
caught,
go right away.
yeah, if you leave like 3 or 4 days earlier, no, that's fine. But if Hurricane Opal or Ivan would have came in the way that it was supposed to have, it would have killed thousands of people on the interstate. So I mean, so you got to plan accordingly. With this flood, it was just so fast moving. I don't really know what you could do. I mean, really, the closest thing I could think of, that's happened recently. Do you remember when Tulsi Gabbard, when she was talking about how they had that accidental nuclear attack alert that went out in Hawaii?
Yeah, and people freaked out, and like
Yeah,
people even like opened up manhole covers in the middle of the
yeah,
freeway and jumped in.
yeah.
They thought
Because
they were going to die.
yeah, because there's a nuke coming, and so
Yeah,
I mean,
20 minutes.
the human mind, the human brain, for most people, can't really process that much information that quickly in a high stress environment whenever you have a lot of people who are looking at you and depending on you to make that choice. And that's one of the reasons why you got to have some kind of a security plan or something that you drill with, just kind of get the muscle memory in. That's why we do drills in the first place, right? But in this situation, though, it's always easy. It's always easy to Monday morning quarterback, and to say, well, they should have installed that weather alert system,
Well, that's true.
10 years ago.
That is true.
Well, potentially, but then it comes out who's going to pay for it? Because if you're in a
Or
rural
maybe
place,
more
there's
to
not a
the
lot of
point,
money.
maybe camps you really never should have allowed the construction of a camp in a floodplain.
Yep, that's a big part of it. I mean, my kids just got back from camp last month. They went to Heron, Montana, and how you talk about the cell phones. Well, have to worry about cell phones because there's no cell phone coverage there. You can have your phone as a paperweight. That's all it's going to do.
Yeah.
So it's just one of those things, man. It's just it's a tragedy, and the most ghoulish thing is how have you seen it? People online are just a bunch of vultures, just being gleeful about it. So, oh look, those Trumpies had it coming to them.
Oh God, I mean, yeah, believe it or
it's
not,
so
I
bad.
well, believe it or not, I have a cartoon coming out about it tomorrow, basically about this reaction. One of my colleagues, Adam Zigglas, drew a controversial cartoon making fun of Trumpies, who drowned in Texas. Right. And, the thing is, it's retarded. Okay. I mean,
it is.
First of all, it's the assumption. Okay. First of all, if any Democrat died there, you're automatically wrong. And I bet at least one Democrat died there. So it's, even though it's Texas Hill Country and it's conservative, but no place is 100% Republican. But also it's like these kids don't vote. Okay. Yeah. So don't be blaming them. And also it's like, the thing is, people always do this after every natural disaster, right? If it's Californians who live in a mudslide and earthquake zone, then conservatives say like, oh, that's what you get for being liberal Democrats. Fuck you. If you live in Tornado Alley, it's like, oh, like, a bunch of idiots living in the trailer park. It's like always like, it's like everybody lives somewhere that's vulnerable to natural disasters, blizzards, earthquakes, wildfires.
Ted, it is snowing here this morning. It is snowing here now. I mean, this is Montana. So, I mean, man,
the only place in the country that has like no natural disasters is Nevada, and that's why they build like data farms there, right? There's no tornadoes. There's no weather, really. There's no rain. Nothing happens. There's no earthquakes.
Yeah, it's just there.
It's literally, you can still see the ruts from the wagon trains on the side of the freeway. It's because there's no weather. But yeah, it's really stupid. I mean, I'm interested, you're right. It's like not everybody reacts quickly. And I've always observed that. I'm frankly, for all of my many, many faults, one of my non-faults is I can really size up a situation very quickly and be like, it's time to go. So when I was covering the invasion of Afghanistan in 2001, I was in northern Afghanistan in a town called Talakan. And it was a very dangerous situation. Constantly, there were bombings. and battles constantly. It was a hot war zone. And so we all had, a go bag, right? Which everyone should have a go bag. So you literally slept with your boots on, and you kept, you just had that one small bag that you're like, if you got a dip, you grab that fucker, you go out the back window, and you're just gone, right? And so I had that. And so one morning I wake up and there's a knock at the door, and my neighbor, who was a reporter for the Washington Post, tells me they shot the Swede. And I was the Swedish guy was a reporter named Ulf Stromberg. And all of us reporters lived with local families, renting little rooms in compounds behind in these walled areas. But we all lived kind of in the same neighborhood, and Ulf lived down the street. And so what I found out was that basically now that someone had come to the door, and he answered the door in the middle of the night. And he went to the door and he didn't open it, but they shot him through the door and then forced the door and then robbed his body. And that's how he died. Right. Now, the thing that freaked me out was that same night, those guys had knocked on my door, and I didn't answer the door because I'm a New Yorker. And if someone buzzes my apartment door at 3 a.m. and I'm not expecting anyone, I know it's not for me, and I don't answer the door. But a lot, I talked to other reporters, they had gone around to everyone's door and knocked, and Ulf was the only guy who came to the door, and he got killed. And so, we all gathered in the street, and we're all trying to figure out what to do. And then after about 15 minutes, this feeling came over me, and I was like, I got to go. We got to go. We got to go. We got to go. We got to go. It's time to leave Afghanistan. Got to go. So I was traveling with 2 other people, and I went and got them. I said, get your shit. Let's go. And so I told my fixer, go out, hire an Afghan, find the skeeviest looking Afghan guy you can, tell him to invite all his friends if they want to ride, and get an old Soviet pickup truck, and let's get the fuck out of here. So, off we went, completely wrapped up with as many, scarves as possible so that no one could see we were American. And we hit the road. We were gone probably about 7-8 hours before anyone else left. And even so, we got ambushed and shot at a couple of times. But we had it easy compared to the people who waited. And in the end, here we are. And I remember just marveling at how people were derping around, what do you think we should do? And it's to me, they sounded like this. What do you think we should do? And I'm like, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up. Why is your brain so slow? And,
that's that lemming mentality.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly.
Yeah.
No, I mean, no, the situation with those kids, it's tough, right? Because you're in this valley, you're waking up in the middle of the night, and it's not just you and your immediate family, but I mean, you have a camp full of kids. So then just trying to figure out, what am I going to do with all of these people?
700 kids. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's massive. I mean, what do you do in that situation?
I guess the thing is they knew it was a flash flood zone. It had happened many times before, not quite to this level, although almost to this level in the 80s. So it's not like it's outside of the realm of possibility. I don't think you wake up in San Francisco, if you have any brains at all, and ever think that there's not going to be an earthquake today. You should be thinking about that. That could happen.
Well, there's a reason why you don't build in box canyons here in Montana. Obviously, it's the same way in Texas. You just don't do it.
What's a box canyon?
So just the way that the topography is it's shaped almost like a box or like a bowl. And so then what happens? That water just comes down really quick, and it just fills up. It just blasts out almost like a pressure washer out the other end. Mm-hmm. And that's how you got the gravel and stuff. I guarantee you that's what happened. And
it's also mountainous, right? So so it's steep. Yep. So the water's going fast.
Yep. Yeah. And then depending on how many fires that they've had over the last
makes for
few
good
years.
whitewater rafting, but it can also kill you.
Yep. Pretty much.
So, all right, let's keep it going here. So this is something I'm definitely super interested in hearing what you have to say here. A New Hampshire man is not allowed to return home after he took his family to Canada. Chris Landry is a legal U.S. resident. He's a green card holder. He's lived in New Hampshire since he was 3. Obviously, he came here with his family from Canada. He has a partner, 5 kids, and a job in manufacturing. He's returning home on Sunday. He was stopped at the border in Holton, Maine, at the border crossing there, coming back from Nova Scotia. They pulled me aside and started questioning me about my past convictions in New Hampshire, Landry said. 3 hours later, Landry, 46 years old, was told that he can never come home, despite having a green card and being a legal resident. They denied me re-entry and said, don't come back or we will detain you. And the only way for me to get back in is to see an immigration judge. By the way, I don't know if you can see an immigration judge outside of the U.S. or not. I don't know. Anyway, the reason for all this was back in 2004 and 2007, he got caught with weed and he drove with a suspended license. But he's took care of those things. He got a suspended sentence, paid his fines back in the day. He's had no criminal record since then whatsoever. I never thought that would threaten my status as a resident of the United States. By the way, this is a Trump supporter. Not that he could vote for Trump, but he was kind of a little bit confused. U.S. Customs and Border Protection said possessing a green card is a privilege, not a right, and under our nation's laws, our government has the authority to revoke a green card if our laws are broken and abused. Lawful permanent residents presenting a U.S. port of entry at a U.S. port of entry with previous criminal convictions may be subject to mandatory detention and or may be asked to provide additional documentation to be set up for an immigration hearing. It's just very uncertain for me right now, said Landry. I might end up spending the rest of my life in Canada. Well, at least it's not South Sudan. Who knows if I'll ever have the right to re-enter the United States at this point. Robby, I honestly don't know what you're going to have to say about this, but let's hear it. I
think it's a bunch of crap because there's no abuse here. I mean, first of all, if you're driving on a suspended license, that's like 3/4 of Montana. And then like another 10%, they identify as sovereign citizens. Like they totally reject the authority of the federal government, so they don't have licenses. So it's only like 5% of the population.
That's the Afghanistan way. If you're in Afghanistan, if you own the car or if you have access to the car, you can drive it.
Yeah, I mean that's how a lot of people here see it. They'll buy gas taxes, pay for the roads. I'm traveling, I'm not driving, so I don't need to have so it's very, very legal, very weasel wordy how they do it. I think it's crap. I mean, the dude, okay, so he smoked pot. First of all, it's legal here in America now, so who cares?
Right. It's a law that it's like saying after emancipation, he violated the Fugitive Slave Act.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And then as far as driving on the suspended license, he paid his fine. What's the crime? He's here legally. Now, if he was here illegally, this would be a different. My take would be completely different. You're like, no, enjoy your residency in Canada. God be with you. That's not the situation here. And he has a family. He has kids. This is just pure overreach. And I probably just broke most people's brains who know my immigration stance. But I don't. This is a non-issue. This is our government being just what's the word? Stupid
or fascist.
Yeah, pick one. Can you be stupid and fascist?
Maybe you can be both. Certainly. I mean, it kind of blew my mind because it's like this guy doesn't really fit the profile of the kind of person you would expect to be targeted here. Yeah. I mean, he's like really white. He's really very that there's an American, it's like you might be born in Canada, but I mean, not that there's a big difference, but that's an American. You would just be like, I've seen 1 million people like that. I'm going to see 1 million more like that. And it's just like, why'd they do this? I mean, it's kind of just like, are they, they why him? I mean, they must intercede. I mean, a border crossing like that has tens of thousands of people crossing every day. Yeah. Many of whom have a similar profile to him. Why? So literally they're just checking criminal records. I mean, everybody's got a criminal record. I mean, I was arrested for weed in Massachusetts. I mean, if I was a green card holder, this could happen to me.
Yeah, I mean,
it wasn't even my weed too. That's really annoying. I
got a speeding ticket. So, I mean, there you go. I mean, I'm a criminal, It's just, I don't know, Ted. I mean, it's retarded. It's, are we allowed to say retarded? Because I just said it
well,
twice,
we both do. So I guess no one's going to stop us here. Yeah.
No, it's true. But
it is retarded. It's stupid.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
by the way,
how about you go after the illegals?
Well, Trump is getting eaten alive on immigration. Immigration was his best issue in the polls, and now he's underwater on it. It's like he's only been in office this time around for less than 6 months.
He's deported fewer people than Obama has.
Oh yeah, only a third, right? And nobody cared when Obama did it.
Yeah, those are rookie numbers. I mean,
I'm going to say this is not about what he's doing. This is about how he's doing it. And I think this and the masked ICE agents, driving around and like trying to tell us that we're, like I love what they say when Kristi Noem said, "Oh, they're identified because it says ICE on their little rented jackets." I'm like, well, you can at that rate. Then if I'm pulled over by the cops, can I just like write Rall on my T-shirt because then I'm identified? I mean, that's not ID. That's not ID.
I have a leather NRA bomber jacket. So now with the NRA logo, does that mean that I work for the NRA?
It maybe, yeah. I have like a hair that's been like annoying the crap out of me, and as you've probably been noticing, after the show is over, I'm going to go and I have to go investigate it. They get caught in my eyelids. I don't know what, or either that or it's in my glasses or something. God, it's like what the hell. Anyway,
it's because you're French.
Yeah, it's like they let anyone into Colombia these days. So I mean, I guess the question is like, is this the new normal? Are we going to see more bullying? I mean, I have to admit, I'm afraid to leave the country. I keep thinking if I come back, I could get harassed. I'm a U.S. citizen born in Massachusetts. But I mean, this guy, a green card holder is basically an American citizen who can't vote. Like he's here since he's 3. I mean, this style of enforcement, this mookery is what's really, getting the administration into trouble.
Really what it is, it's the Trump administration cannibalizing itself. I mean, that's honestly what this is. I mean, Trump is doing everything that he possibly can to show that the Trump organization has no organization, and second, to make his base hate him. Mm-hmm. That's what this is. And the question that you got to ask is
why?
I mean, I'm going to assume that Trump's not retarded. And I'm going to assume he's not senile, at least not like Biden was. So why is he doing this? Why is he doubling down on the things that are literally going to cost him next year in the midterms?
I don't get it. I mean, I don't know. I mean, by the way, this is a piece I'm planning to write. I don't know when, but this does kind of bring us back to Biden. So I don't know. Robby, did you see the piece in the New York Times where Biden was explaining his use of the auto pen to issue all of those pardons, and he said like it's all lies, like I knew about all of them. Okay, maybe I didn't know about them specifically, I knew about them as a class, but yeah. I knew. And the thing is, they quoted the whole thing word for word, and he just sounded like like it confirmed everything that we've thought about him. He's just rambling, makes no sense.
I could not understand what he was saying.
I tried. It was sad.
No, listen. You've read my messages. I am not an articulate writer by any stretch of imagination.
I know, but that's not a comparison. Let's get serious here.
But I mean, you can at least understand what the hell is I'm trying to say.
Totally.
With Biden, it's just like there's nothing there.
And to come full circle, though, we're talking about Trump here. Like, why is he doing this? I'm wondering the dude's 79 years old. He's going to be 80 next year. I'm starting to think, okay, he's not as far gone as Biden, but still, it could, and I'm going to say maybe probably will happen. And Democrats will be in no position to say anything about it because they're going to be They just won't. Because they're going to be, completely. They lost all their credibility under Biden.
Well, I mean, really, I mean, Ted, what did the Democrats ever run on? What is their plan? What is their platform? What is their position? What do they stand for?
No, there was nothing.
The only thing that they have is we're not Trump. That's right. It. But we know you're not Trump. And if you're America first like me, I can guarantee you I just like Trump more than you do. So why not try to earn my vote? But that will never happen.
Yeah.
I mean, if I lived in New York, I would have voted for Mondani on one thing. When he was when they were asked in that debate, what foreign country would you go to? When he said none, I'm going to say you're in New York and take care of my city. That right there would have earned my vote.
Yeah,
and I don't understand. I don't understand why. I don't understand why my leaders from either political party don't understand this. It's so basic. It is basic.
We were talking about this, before we went on. I mean, look, here's the thing, right? Like, so let's say, I think it's really like if you become a doctor, like, what is your fundamental ethical obligation? The Hippocratic Oath. First, do no harm. Like, if you become a police officer, what is your first ethical obligation? To protect the innocent and bring the guilty to justice, right? Yeah. If you're the head of a tribe in Indian country, what is your obligation? To uphold the safety and well-being and welfare of your people. If you're the CEO of a corporation, what is your ethical and moral obligation? To maximize profits for your shareholders. And if you're a political leader of a country, what is your ethical and moral obligation? To improve the quality of life of the people, of the citizens of that country, first and foremost, right? Anything else is secondary. So no matter how much you care about poor Ukraine being overrun by the mean Russians, that you can care about that, but it's not as important as your primary obligation. And if the two things interfere with each other, you have to go with your primary obligation. You might want to have cultural or economic or ethnic diversity in your country, and you might love immigrants because your family came from immigrants, and that's all fine. But if that interferes with your obligation to protect Americans, their jobs, etc., then now if it doesn't interfere, then you can do that. So I don't know why this is complicated.
Have we just talked about Texas a little bit ago? If we had sent one less missile to Israel 10 years ago, those people in Texas could have had an early warning system for the flood.
That's true.
I mean, that's it.
Literally $1 million. They were like $1 million is how much it would have cost, which ain't nothing. Think about the cost of like a local elementary school. $1 million it's just the cost of like a modest house in the Northeast or in Los Angeles. But that $3 million will make a huge difference to a local elementary school. They can modernize a lot of their equipment, give raises to their teachers, recruit better teachers, upgrade the physical plant. It's a lot to them, and literally each one of those cruise missiles, for example, costs millions of dollars.
Yeah,
and that's only for the missile manufacture. The deployment and the firing of it is a lot more.
No, Ted, I'm going to give you. I don't know how many Democratic politicians it is that or people who are thinking about jumping into the political arena next year. But if you do know one, tell them I said this. And I'll tell them that if they call me, I'll tell them myself. If they run on an America First, not a MAGA, but if they run on an America First ticket, they will earn the votes of hundreds of thousands of America First people.
We need new political movement. Yeah.
Incredibly so.
That's outside of. Yeah. Never mind. Yeah. Like neither left and right, neither left nor right. Both, it's like, it's not about that. But I mean, obviously we can all argue about what America First means.
Well, I mean, we can argue
America First, but that's what politics is that argument.
Yeah. I mean, we can argue about abortion later on. We can argue about gun rights. We can argue about states' rights and federalism. How about we make it where the kids aren't getting drowned by rivers And
yeah, we can all we can all we should all be able to agree on that.
No, let's at least fix the house, and then we can argue about how the furniture set up later.
Agreed. Robby, let's leave that there. Thank you so much, Robby, for sitting in from Manila. Thanks, everyone, for watching and subscribing and following and sharing the show. I'm Ted Rall. Robby West is there filling in for Manila Chan. Manila will be back tomorrow, Wednesday, July 16th. Please take care and have a great day. Hope the rest of your week goes fantastic. See you tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. Eastern time here on the TMI Show.